Hi, Libra Sun and Rising. Welcome to your July 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. July is a bit of a breather compared to the last, how many months? March, April, May, June, 4 months, full of a lot of change agents. And it's not that July is completely sleepy, but just a little bit less intense, I guess you would call it. At least, on the personal level. On the collective level, we may see some fireworks, and I'm not talking about on the 4th of July, so we will see. On the 3rd of the month, we have the full moon at 11 degrees of Capricorn. This is a supermoon, and so the effects may be felt even more so. It is in an earth sign, so taken by itself, you could say, well, it's not that emotional. Even though full moons tend to bring out the emotions, it's in Capricorn. That is very pragmatic. That's very down to earth. But in your particular chart, Libra, this is falling in your fourth house of home and family. This is the house of the mother. This is the house of your past. So this could be something along those lines. By the way, Pluto has recently entered this sector since the retrograde in June. And so you have both of these transits occurring at the same time. Pluto will be here for several more months. And it will also retrograde back into Capricorn in 2024 before fully going into your fifth house for good at the end of 2024. So, you're already having another dose of I was going to say introspection, but Pluto isn't really introspection. Pluto is really like a wrecking ball sometimes that goes into your psyche and trying to restructure things. But if you've ever seen somebody tear down what they call that, a gut rehab, I mean it can get pretty messy, if you will. And so your emotions are already heightened, and this full moon can really give you insight into maybe something that you had to deal with growing up and how it pertains to your adult life, maybe connected to your mother, for instance. And some people think the fourth house is the father for whatever reason. But I usually just say family of origin. So, expect this to be very emotional for you in some way. And maybe sentimental or, dredging up, bringing up the past. Again, this can be a healing, but it can be emotional for sure. You might be moving. Maybe your family is selling the family home, or you're getting involved with some real estate matter. On the 10th, Mars goes into Virgo. So this is the 12th house for you. And that can be when Mars is in the 12th house. You may be working on something behind the scenes. You may be, in some cases, there might be a clandestine affair that occurs. Oh yeah, another thing about the fourth house is it could be the family that you have created as an adult. And so the full moon can kind of bring something to a head. There could be a crisis. There could be some kind of an ending. And maybe, or at least a revelation, and maybe you have a separation and you're having some kind of an affair. We are having a Venus retrograde that is occurring in the third week of the month, but who knows? Maybe in some cases this influence is felt earlier, and this is somebody from your past. I don't know. Even just the full moon being in that house of the past, maybe that has some kind of catalyst effect. Is it catalytic? Catalytic effect. On the 11th, Mercury goes into Leo. So this is, you've had Mercury in the 10th house, along with the sun in the house of career. So this may be a big area for you as well in July. And now Mercury is going into the 11th house. And it might be, depending on the type of work that you do, the type of career that you have, that you are enlisting other people, like you know, networking. So for instance, a corporate type of job, you may be required to schmooze, and you can schmooze with the best of them, Libra. And on the 17th, we have a new moon at almost 25 degrees of Cancer in that house of career. So this is a month for career matters, for sure. But you also have this opposition with the home front, with that full moon there. So, you know, that full moon at the beginning of the month, that might be for some people who have been stay-at-home parents to leave the home environment to go back into the career. You know, even if you had been working from home the whole time, you might have to go back into the office, or you want to. But some new developments with career might be happening. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Leo, and your ruler, Venus, goes retrograde. So this makes it even more special or important, per se, that Venus is in the house that, not in the house, that your ruler, Venus, is retrograding. But the sun also goes into Leo. So again, Leo is this 11th house. Now, the 11th house is the house of the collective. And this is Aquarius's house. So it's a fellow air sign's house. And it can, you know, this is one of the houses. I haven't been able to find any corroboration for this, and I've been kind of spreading this. So I got a little bit concerned that I had said on previous videos that the 11th house is the house of the internet. But I know I did not imagine that. A lot of times now they're attributing the internet to the third house because of the communication angle, which is associated with the third, social media, you know, basically. But the 11th house is the house of the collective as well as the house of technology. So you could totally see how that could also be connected to the internet. So I do like to mention that as a possible way that this can manifest. But just in terms of the other things that the 11th house represent are that it's the house of gains. Gains meaning your profit, your pay, and Venus is going to be here until early October. So that is not, you know, that is way longer than it usually is, which is just like 3.5 weeks. This is months that Venus is spending in this 11th house. And so this becomes super important as a result. So anything, you know, with Venus retrograde specifically in that 11th house, this could have something to do with you and money, and how much is that really important to you. Because if you are, like, for instance, with the new moon in the house of career, you may be going into a new type of profession. And if it is something that you feel is not paying as much as an old profession, or if it is something that you've chosen specifically because it pays more, you may have second thoughts. You may have a change of heart because, you know, sometimes it takes doing something actually being in that situation to realize that that a person overvalued a certain area of life, namely that they were too eager to, be concerned about the monetary side of things. So it's a very interesting conundrum nonetheless, and one that you will be able to resolve by early September when Venus goes direct. And also Venus can be your value, so that is, not so much about the monetary side of things, but just if what you're doing doesn't kind of jibe with where you're at spiritually, in other words. On the 28th, Mercury goes into Virgo, so Mercury joins Mars, joins the party in that 12th house, and this is where your mind starts to be more intuitive and less rational. And because you're an air sign Virgo, you're an air sign Libra, you may feel like, oh no, I want a rational mind. But sometimes we have to, live life on a different level. We can't just be on that mundane level where we're thinking thoughts that are just part of the world, part of all of that jazz. This is more about the spiritual things, intuitive things. This is the dream state, the 12th house. If you have any kind of anxiety, this too shall pass. It's kind of like, 12th house is unconscious mind. So it can even be like picking up on past life memories and not having that conscious recall, that kind of thing. So it's going to just be there for a couple of weeks. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.